What I want to do now, I want to bring on to the show here is our special guest, First Sergeant Matthew Kinney. And he is, he's been around, ladies and gentlemen, and I've known him for a while now. And he's been in the Army since 1997. He's the rank of First Sergeant. He's seen action in Iraq, Afghanistan, and the Baltics. First Sergeant Kinney has 5 combat deployments and is a critical care flight medic. This is much different than just a combat medic. And when he comes on, he's going to explain the difference. And the reason I've asked him to come on here, First Sergeant Kinney, is to give his expertise on what items may be better than others for using for your bug-out bag. And there's a lot of things when it goes into thinking about a bug-out bag. A lot of people, I see them want to become a pack mule. You can't do that. Weight is everything. And First Sergeant here is going to explain that. So, First Sergeant, why don't you come in on screen here? Let's say hi to everybody. Bring your chair over, partner. And let's say hello to the audience here. First Sergeant, thank you very much for coming on. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
I'm really happy to have you on here because we've been talking about this for a while, First Sergeant. And I know you're the guy, first line, knows how it works, knows what's needed, knows what's not good, knows what's too heavy. Don't take this, take this. You forgot about this. That's why I want you on here. I want you to talk to me. First of all, explain to me, I had mentioned, what's the difference between a critical care flight medic as compared to just a combat medic? Combat medic is badass, okay? But talk to me about your position.
Okay, so that's pretty easy to do. So when I started out in the Army, I was a regular combat medic. I did that for 2 deployments and thought, I can do a whole lot more independent. So in order to be a flight medic or a critical flight medic, you got to be an independent operator because you're operating alone in the back of the aircraft. There's no help. And so we call ourselves help, and there's no help for the help. So if you get shot out of the sky or go down or get separated from the aircraft, that's it. You're on your own. You might have some ground guys to hunker down with, enjoy the fight for a little bit. Or your aircraft may PL somewhere, and it's just you and your crew, whoever survives the landing. If you crash, or you just might have a nice little.
Let's take a pause on that. I mean, let's clarify. When you have a problem and there's help, okay. When you have a problem and there's no help, think about it. That's like driving down a section of highway 113 miles and there's no Exxon stations to help you out if you get a flat. You're on your own. Okay, this is the same principle that you're telling me. So you've got to know your stuff, right?
Yeah, you're on your own. A hostile environment, or very austere. It's non-forgiving. So, like as we were talking about before the show, in the aircraft, I got my aid bag, and so I normally dismount with my rifle and my aid bag, and so it's not just medical supplies in my aid bag. I've got some other things, other little tricks, extra ammo, magazines. It's not just bandages. Then there's extra, IR strobes and stuff like that, chem lights, just in case I get stuck on the ground with the patient. And I've been stuck on the ground for quite some time before with patients, 3-4 hours in the thick of it. And then other times, so if you go down and you're able to get back to the aircraft, you have we all make our own bug-out bags, right? So in the bug-out bag, we have clothes we can blend in with the local populace, dried foods,
I'll tell you what, first, hold on 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, get your pencils and papers ready. What you're about to hear is going to be firsthand stuff that you need to know, write down, and make note of, because the bug-out bag is critical. It's going to keep you alive for those critical moments and times and hours when there's no help available. So pay attention. Get your pencils and paper ready. And First Sergeant, you've got about 10 minutes. I'm going to give the floor to you. Hit it.
Okay. So we'll just for a few seconds talk about what I carry in my little small bag in the aircraft, and it's going to be some sort of communication. It might be a phone that's turned off until I need it. Like I said, some form of clothing, something for shelter, extra ammo, some food supplies, batteries, something to put water in, because I'm not going to be able to just stop and just be at a water supply all the time. I'm going to be moving and all the other stuff that goes on with trying to not be a sore thumb out there, amongst people that wish you harm, so you can stay alive. But when we talk about bug-out bags, there's no one set bag for everybody. There's no one set load plan, packing list for everybody. It's going to be different. And with that being said, don't buy your bag until you figure out what you're going to put in it. So if you buy a bag first and You come up with all this stuff. It might be way too much stuff, or you might have way too much bag and not enough stuff to put in it. So curtail it to your situation and what you're actually doing. So that being said, we're going to move to one of the other important things, water. So the human body can go 3 days without water. After that, you're just out of luck, so to speak. Food-wise, you're looking at about 30 days to 3 weeks. And, then your body just
What was that? What's the saying, 3 days no water, 3 weeks no food? Isn't there a third part of that equation?
Well, there is, but your bug-out bag essentially is supposed to last you for 3 days.
3 days, okay.
3 days. Because you carry, that much food and stuff, you're just too much weight.
Let me make a comment. When I first went in the military, I was doing a survival course. I'm cherry, green. I've got a rucksack that I'm bouncing literally off trees. It's so heavy. I felt like a pinball in a pinball machine. If I knew then what I know now, that thing would have been streamlined. But I was bouncing off the walls. But go ahead.
Absolutely. Some bags are like 75 pounds, and you're just struggling to get it on your back. But when you pick a water container, stuff like that, it needs to be durable. It needs to be able to hold the food. I prefer stuff that collapses, so you get smaller and smaller with your space, and something that can hook to the outside if need be. Doesn't always have to go inside. And when you choose your bag, choose it to your environment. If you want to blend in an urban environment, make it something that's going to blend in, such as a Osprey pack that looks somewhat civilian. Or you can just go with the straight-up military assault pack,
Well, nowadays, military is almost civilian, and it's so commonly bought by civilians, so I see what you're saying there. But as compared to a real tree camouflage that everybody has hunting, but if you get a digital camo, everybody's got that too, so I know what you mean.
Absolutely. So when we talk about the water situation as well, if you can get a hydration straw or a purification straw, you can stick it in the water. It's got a filter. Some of them boast as they'll purify up to 99.9%. There's also the UV light that'll kill bacteria as well. And those are very small, lightweight, pretty cheap, pretty reasonable. When it comes to food and stuff, you want things that are dry, so they're not going to go bad. MREs, they're kind of big and bulky, but if you get something that's freeze-dried or something such as jerky or trail mix or stuff like that, it's high in protein.
Let me ask something about that. There's a conflict there. You get the dehydrated stuff that's lightweight and compact, but then it demands more water, which then puts a conflict on your survival for water. So how do you blend those two together, without sacrificing the water but still having water for your food?
So, like I said before, your body needs water. It's got to have water, but you have up to 30 days, 3 weeks. You can go without food. So you go until you can get to a water source, or you save your food. You don't want to just eat it all up. But like I said before, your bag is designed for 3 days, 72-hour bug-out bag.
Okay.
So food preparation, so protein bars, energy bars, you want a spork, not a fork or a spoon. A spork will do both things, mix. So when I say that, so in my med bag, there's one item that'll do multiple things. So we're stressed out for cubage. Same thing in your bug-out bag. You're fighting the I want to put more stuff, but you're got a lack of cubage space in your bag. So one item does multiple things. So the portable little stove, and if you get a portable stove, look to see if you can get one that's multi-fuel.
Right.
Or, little
gasoline, propane.
Exactly. Clothing. You never want to be wet, especially when it's cool outside. You get hypothermic. Your body starts to shut down, quit functioning. So use layers, stay dry, and have an extra change of clothes in your bag as well. Because if not, you're just going to succumb to the elements. Heat source, got to have multiple ways to make a fire. So if you have a little butane lighter, some matches that are able to get wet and still strike, whatever you can have. If there's a saying that says if you have if there's two, there's one, and if there's one, there's none. You got to have heat. So multiple ways to make the heat, and first aid pouches and stuff like that. Make sure you have one. A lot of people forget to put some first aid stuff in their bug-out bag. That's like a critical thing, because if you get hurt or whatever, you got to have means to take care of yourself or whoever you're bugging out with. So for me, if I'm downrange and I got a bug out, I've got tourniquets, I've got combat gauze, I've got, other various sundries. And if I was able to grab my my first aid bag, it's got enough stuff to treat multiple people.
First, let's make a clarification here. You're talking as though it sounds like you're in the combat field. This bug out bag can be used for right here in the environment that we live in a city if something goes wrong. Explain on that.
Absolutely. So here in the city, there's lots of stuff that you could use the bug out bag for. That's why I said if you, depending on your environment, and you don't want to stick out like a sore thumb, make sure the bag matches the environment. So when we talk about the bug out bag and inside the bug out bag, which is the last thing I'm going to do is explain the bug out bag, some of the things that we went through, and even right down to the smallest detail of weight, how much each item weighs, and then inside each different bag what it is. So we even have an electronics bag for all your little gadgets and stuff like that. But so let's say in combat theater, I'm not so much worried about if I stink or all that other good stuff, right?
Right.
But in my other bug out bag that I would have here stateside, I would want to take care of hygiene. So wet naps, baby wipes, multi-purpose hygiene stuff, towels, the little alcohol.
Right. I know what you're talking about.
The
it's not soap.
The gel.
It evaporates,
yeah.
Right.
Oops, there goes some papers.
Yeah, so there's lots of things to consider in the differerences between being in a combat zone and in a city zone. But go ahead.
Right. So another thing you want to have here is a form of cash. So whether it be small bills, $2, $3, up to $500 in cash, other items that are rendered as
barter,
in that bag, you want to have it. And then if you're traveling in the city and you're going to have means to it, you could have these prepaid credit cards. You can buy and just swipe them, get your little resupply, move back out to your little hide shelter area.
Let me make a comment about that. Somebody just informed me that there was some people going shopping at a local food store, and the credit card machines, ATMs, were all down. And you had these people using their credit cards to go, what do I do? What do I do? That's why we tell everybody, make sure you have access to cash or gold and silver or something, because if the digital money goes, you're out of luck.
Right. Recall those travel aids. They help you get around. So even in a third world country, I'll have some form of their currency, some U.S. dollars as well. I'll have a GPS, emergency whistle in case I lose my voice. I can still, do that stuff. I'll have a radio. For us, we have different radios over there that talk cryptid and other means. And like I said before, my cell phone, you can have a prepaid phone or whatever. Turn it off, store it in the bag so it holds its charge for a long time. And then maps. You want to have like local maps of the area where you're going as well. Because your GPS batteries, they always run out. So
Sure.
That being said, lots of batteries. Batteries take up space and weight is...
I want to make a comment, too. Tell me if you agree upon this or not. If you're outside of where you live 45 minutes to an hour, you now become a foreigner in that area, and it becomes a little bit more difficult. People think, I'm just going to bug out to a different location. Well, unless you know that location or you know people in that location, you become the stranger in that location, and things are different. So it's very important that you do know your local area, different ways to get from A to B, and just have a network of people to help you. That's a good little thing to have in your bug out bag too, is the knowledge of who you can go for assistance. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to know the area, you got to know people, terrain, all that's key things. So other miscellaneous stuff, you want 550 cord, duct tape, everybody loves duct tape, 55-gallon plastic garbage bags, you can stuff those and make your bedding, sewing kit, latex tubing, a fishing kit, condoms that you can use to store stuff in, put them on the end of your rifle if you're carrying a rifle, keep things dry, binoculars, face paint, surplus survival snares to, catch rabbits and other things with. But before we keep talking about just other sundry things you can put in there, I want to talk about an actual bag where we went and weighed each item, and it turns out to be 24.96 pounds. So that's roughly 25 pounds. And when we talk about weight is a very essential thing. So ounces equals pounds. And when you put a lot of weight on stuff, it's going to slow you down. It's going to make you bulky. It's going to wear you out. You're going to increase your food and water intake and everything else. And it's just going to slow you down and make you non-mobile if you have a whole lot of weight. So you want to be able to where you can go fast and go far. So it's thinking like a light fighter.
Right. Light and tight. Yes, sir.
So when we talk about bags, it's like a 72-hour bag, right? So I picked the Osprey Atom 65. It's kind of a large bag, more like a assault pack for us. It weighs 3.78 pounds. And then we went with a smaller bag that goes inside, a little survival bag for tools. It was 2.6 pounds. Electronic bag to put all your electronics in. It's about 2.5 pounds. And so we have a sleeping bag, compass, dry sack. It's 1.9 pounds. So that being said, those bags don't weigh that much, but they add up. And when we start putting things in them, that's going to add even more.
First, Sergeant, because of the lack of time we got, I'm looking at your sheets here, and there's a lot of items, ladies and gentlemen, that go in the bag. And the way he's got it designed here is it's minimal bulk. So to cut to the chase, just because we're out of time, it's very important to make sure you study what you're going to put in there, what you need, and to maybe research different types of items that may do the same purpose for less weight, because ounces equal pounds.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
First, Sergeant, what's going on with you? Is there a contact point that people can contact you if they want to go for more information as to how to more properly do a bug out bag or anything?
Well, sure. Start my own small business. It's called 911 Target and Medical Concepts. Basically, we're mostly deal in medical stuff and training. We're going in September to train up some DEA agents and hoist operations. February, I'll be training up some DHS guys and medical stuff, so they're paramedics as well, so we'll be refreshing their medical training. But in all this training, we talk about your aid bags, your bug-out bags, how you need to, operate your weapon and everything else. And we're going to be, in the future, making a light carbine intro course that's going to teach you how to hold, operate, shoot different sights and stuff like that. But for all the medical recertification stuff, it's primarily paramedic training and how to operate aircraft stuff, austere environment, back of an ambulance. Mm-hmm. And whenever you get down to the other parts and pieces, if you want to look at kits, we modify people's kits. We'll modify, make things lighter, faster, more agile versus you buy the civilian kits. They're big, bulky, and they're just not they're not kitted out right to do what we do. So do you
have a point of contact that you're willing to give out, or no, you don't have anything set up at this time?
Well, I do. So you can go online on Facebook and look up or type in 911 Target and Medical Concepts, or just type in 911 Target medicalconcepts.com, and our contact's on there. We're still currently building in the site, Facebook. It's on there as well. We put nice to know stuff on there. So the latest thing we put on there was we're going to go train DHS, or excuse me, not DHS, but DEA agents and hoist operations. Come here in September. And then the other thing I put on there was there's some new syringes out, and they match the Broslo tape. Broslo tapes for pediatric patients, so you don't mess up on the drug doses. You actually push to pediatric patients. Okay. Well, first, Sergeant, I don't mean to be abrupt, but I've got to cut you off at this time. It's been a pleasure to have you on here. We'd like to have you again. And we just thank you for your service to country, and just thank you for all this information. Thank you.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, sir.